Hello, FBC Salinas. This is Pastor John coming to you with another edition of the Midweek Refresher video, where I desire to do two things. Number one, provide you information, and number two, provide you inspiration in the middle of your week. Certainly hope your week is going well, and if not, may this video serve as a reminder that our God is with us, that He will not fail us, and that He will walk with us no matter what comes our way. Hey, just to give you a heads up, this is the final edition of the Midweek Refresher video for 2023. As next week, Dawn and I get to take off and go back to Scottsdale and see our family there. We're looking forward to that reunion and playing with the grandkids and having a great time there. So this is the final one. I hope you've enjoyed these videos. I've enjoyed making them, and I hope that you find them helpful as well as inspirational at times as you go through the week. All right, so hey, here's some information for you. The first is this: I want to continue to encourage you to contribute generously to our Christmas offering, which is going to When I Grow Up. This upcoming Sunday, you'll hear another story about the effectiveness of the ministry of When I Grow Up in Nairobi, Kenya. I'll be sharing a story about a little guy named, or a little youngster named Moses, and how his life has been radically changed because of that ministry. I look forward to sharing that story with you and remind you once again to consider contributing to this great ministry that's happening there, and the privilege that we have to partner with them throughout the years. All right, so that's that announcement. The other announcement is this: is that this upcoming Sunday is Christmas Eve. We will have a worship service in the morning at 10:30. We will not have spiritual formation class this Sunday or next Sunday, which is New Year's Eve. So that's in the morning. Then in the evening at 6 p.m., we will have a Christmas Eve candlelight service. It is one of my favorite services of the year, as we celebrate together Jesus Christ coming to this earth and enjoying carols and enjoying a short message and enjoying the simple fact that it is an incredible reminder that God cares about us so much that He became one of us. So that's it for the informational portion. If you have any questions, please don't be afraid to email us at info@fbcsalinas.com, and we'll be more than happy to answer those questions. All right. So, hey, here we go. There's this passage, and I think one of the most, perhaps, well, how do I say this? I don't think Joseph gets a whole lot of press, for lack of a better word. I think, and I don't, I'm not downplaying any of the press that Jesus receives or Mary receives or John. I'm not downplaying any of that. It seems to me that Joseph oftentimes gets overlooked. And I was looking at this passage in Matthew chapter 1, and notice what happens here, starting at verse 18. This is how the birth of Jesus, the Messiah, came about. His mother Mary was pledged to be married to Joseph, but before they came together, she was found to be pregnant through the Holy Spirit. Because Joseph, her husband, was faithful to the law and yet did not want to expose her to public disgrace, he had in mind to divorce her quietly. But after he had considered this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, "Joseph, son of David, don't be afraid to take Mary home as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins." Joseph was in an awkward situation, wasn't he? I mean, let's be honest. Finds out that Mary, who he is engaged, betrothed to be married, is now pregnant, and he knows this. He didn't get her pregnant. Imagine that situation, the tension that he felt, and how is he going to hear this story of her explaining that this is of God, and that nobody, I mean, it was we're told in Luke that the Holy Spirit overcame her, and she conceived. It's such an incredible story for him to hear, and then to navigate that. I cannot imagine what he felt and how perhaps hurt he felt, perhaps how betrayed he felt. And he's getting ready to divorce her. And from what we can tell in the story, just if you look at those facts, as far as she's pregnant and he didn't get her pregnant, it makes sense in a sense. I mean, he says he's going to divorce her quietly. And he was being faithful to the law. Wow. And then what happens? God intercedes like God always does. He intersects. He interrupts. We have a God who interrupts our lives, don't we? We may feel overwhelmed about all that's going on in our lives or in other people's lives, and perhaps things don't make sense, and we're getting ready to make a move in this direction or that direction, and all of a sudden God interrupts us and says, let's take a look at this, shall we? And so God reaches out to Joseph and tells him these things. And we read this in verse 22. All this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us. So Matthew slides in here another prophecy that's fulfilled. And remember, Matthew's gospel is written to Jewish people. And so he's doing his due diligence throughout the opening chapters of Matthew by saying this prophecy is fulfilled, that prophecy is fulfilled, this prophecy is fulfilled. He goes through, and I can't remember the number, but in the first couple chapters of Matthew's gospel, the amount of prophecies that are fulfilled is amazing. And the reason why is because Matthew wants them to realize Jesus is the long-awaited Messiah. And so Matthew slides that comment in, and notice what happens in verse 24. When Joseph woke up, he did what the angel of the Lord had commanded him and took Mary home as his wife. But he did not consummate their marriage until she gave birth to a son, and he gave him the name Jesus. Here's what strikes me about Joseph, and here's why I don't fully understand why we don't seem to, at least in my opinion, don't seem to give him a whole lot of coverage, I guess. He obeyed God at every turn in the opening chapters of Matthew. It's phenomenal. God says, don't go here, go here. He does it. God says, don't divorce her, stick with her. And know that this really is of my doing. Joseph's life was interrupted constantly by God. And Joseph responded obediently to God. Let me ask you this question. When your life gets interrupted by God, do you respond to his commands? Do you respond with obedience? Do you allow your life to be interrupted in such a way that you say, Lord, whatever it is you want to do, please do. It's my prayer as we continue talking about the great surprise of God coming to earth in the form of Jesus Christ. It's my prayer that we would allow our lives to be interrupted by that great story, and that as our lives are interrupted, we would then respond in obedience and follow after him. Perhaps that could be the greatest gift you give to yourself this year, is allowing yourself to walk with God as he interrupts your life. I love you. I'm praying for you. I'm thankful, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of this week. God bless. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.